put the fire on him, he don't know how to act.
Yo, it's your boy Big Homie.CC. We running it back again with y'all here off the Grid Network. And I got my co-host, my business partner, my brother, my boy.
Let's go. Roll call. What's going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you feeling today, brother?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling real good.
It's a lot of things going on, so I said we might as well double back ASAP.
Amen, yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with something that people always ask about a lot, and that's the mermaid topic.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Wyclef Jean's mermaid situation?
No, I never heard about that.
Right. Now, he have a story where he was speaking about he encountered a mermaid, like he dated the mermaid, but in the video, you know, like they was clowning him and wouldn't let him get the story off. What's the lady that be recording with them with the Fugees?
Lauryn Hill?
Lauryn Hill's in the video. Let me see if I can find it for you. And they be scrubbing this video from the internet, which I think is pretty suspicious. And I'm bringing this up because, you know, I got a real trusted source.
Okay.
And all my sources, I make sure I vet them properly before I ever bring it up. He had emailed me and he had told me that he has been having experiences in a certain marina where people dock boats. And, you know, he have a canoe and he have another boat. Now, he said one time something reached on his boat and tried to capsize him. But he was hearing weird sounds before that, and he keeps a little weapon on him, and he stabbed the arm or whatever this creature was, and then let his boat go. Now, he told me he tied a camera to an anchor and let it fall down so he could try to get footage of this creature as it comes through the marina. He said that it would peel off like the barnacles and stuff off boats and eat them. This is what he's telling me. So when he showed me the video is 18 years old. And a lot of people I showed it to, they say, bro, that's not CGI.
No.
You know what I'm saying? What you think about it?
Well, it can't be CGI. It can't be AI. You know what I mean?
It's 18 years old video.
Because even then, like, if you want to say, okay, well, CGI existed, look at how it looked.
That's the thing. Somebody like you who's a professional when it comes to these things, explain to me what it looked like to you.
That looks real. That looks real. Especially the way that you see the movement, the fluidity in the movement as well, and capturing water is difficult.
Definitely.
So if somebody wanted to recreate that with CGI, that's a tough process.
It probably costs a lot of money too.
Of course. Now, even if let's just say that they dropped the camera inside of the water and then they just added in this effect of this mermaid swimming, the way that it comes from the darkness out of the abyss to come closer and the shading of it, it looks real. I believe it.
I'm believing it as well because that left arm looks how somebody would swim if they had an injured arm, but they got a tail.
Yeah.
You feel me? And I got some other footage that I'm trying to verify though, but it looked strikingly similar.
So you said it would scrape off the barnacle. So like on the seaboard part of it,
off the hull of the boats.
Yeah, okay.
It would scrape off the barnacles and eat them.
So that's funny because that's where they would put the carvings of mermaids usually, was on the front of the boat like that too, on the stern.
Oh,
so
very interesting.
So I wonder if that was to protect the boats so they would think another mermaid is there and back off back in the days, or if that was just a call of peace, or maybe, because if you think about like how we do hunters, when they kill different animals and they take off the heads and they put it in the front to let you know, like, look, we kill y'all.
For sure.
So were we hunting mermaids before, or was this some kind of peace treaty thing?
That's what's interesting to me because when you look at like those old maps from the 1600s where they say, oh, this is a siren area.
Yeah.
You just hear about humans kind of like getting victimized by mermaids. We don't never really hear hunting parties for them. And then the thing is, you know, humans, we keep trophies.
Of course.
So, you know, if somebody had a mermaid corpse,
they would have put it on the front.
You would have seen that. But, you know, I feel like it's kind of hard to catch certain animals. And then this is a creature that's got a brain.
Yeah.
Cognitive function.
And I mean, if it's hunting humans, like there's not a lot of animals that hunt humans.
That's what's a pinnacle point for me. because I talked to another person who said that something was telling him to jump overboard before.
Yeah.
You heard that before?
Yeah, so they hear the songs, and then after that they get in a trance, and they're told to jump into the water with them.
Like infrasound. They say Sasquatch, Bigfoot uses infrasound as well. I think that we need to try to figure out a way to get a real in-depth investigation on mermaids here stateside.
Yeah.
Because trying to do it in Kenya was, but it's not often things that spook me, but to see the seriousness on the face of the fishermen. Well, they would say, look, we can't tell people that it's dangerous out here, it's how we make our money. But it's like an unwritten rule after a certain time, you do not go swimming at night. So, and I'm also wondering, like, is this like a extra dimensional being? But, you know, in ancient Egypt, they had a story about a group of people who came from the ocean, and in hieroglyphics, they had tails and they was carrying tridents.
Okay.
So people keep asking about this, so I'm going to make sure we get to the bottom of it the best way we can. I'm going to make sure the video is played on the screen in its entirety, may run it back a couple times, so people can really get a close look, because we have to use our global consciousness as a think tank to really try to get to the bottom of this. So let y'all know, keep emailing me, Homie.CC1@gmail. Keep DMing me, and I'm going to keep responding, and I'm going to keep investigating. So the mermaid topic is still something that's prevalent, and we working on it.
So I know you said they might be interdimensional beings, kind of like the Sasquatches. What about also evolution, in the sense of that break apart where we see different animals evolve that were still kin to each other, and they just separated? Who stayed in the water, who stayed on land?
Right.
So, you know, if we talk about a whale that can walk on land and on water, we have that. That's a hippopotamus. That's the closest cousin to it. And also it's close cousins to horses as well, if I'm not wrong on that.
That's true. That is true.
So it's in between in that biological center with the genomes. Now, what about for these mermaids, if they're a break off in between dolphins and humans, where it's like a porpoise, where a lot of dolphins can connect sonically? Did you hear about the lady that she did acid and she was doing research on a dolphin?
She spoke to the dolphins.
Yes, they connected.
Now, that's the thing. It's like, who would have the most knowledge on this planet? The animals.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you got some whales that's over 200 years old.
Yeah.
You got turtles that's 400 years old. And there are certain populations in certain indigenous areas where the local people have webbed hands and feet. Like, let me pull this up, because they got islands. Let me see something. I know this to be true for sure. So we got, okay, so in Malaita, which is a Pacific island population, one of their traits is they have webbings on their hands and feet because they always in the water for centuries. So when you say evolution, that can add up, because we can pull up, all this going to be on the screen, because evolution is indeed real.
Yeah.
And just like with pigs, do you know if you take a farm-raised pig and put it out in the wilderness, it's going to evolve into a wild boar? Tusk come, the snout gets a lot larger, the skin turns from pink to black to brown. That's a process of evolution.
And it does it in real time in front of you. That's crazy.
So let me pull that up.
I mean, if you think about also humans, we see the process from people becoming sperm to becoming an embryo, a fetus, and they come out. So we can't be ignorant to the fact that it's true.
All right, so here it go. So when a domestic pig escapes and becomes feral, within one generation, which could be a couple of months or a year, longer snout, larger head, thicker shoulders, straighter tail, coarser hair, and tusk develop. So if you take a pig from the farm, put it in the wilderness, that selective process, something triggers that recessive gene to turn into a wild boar within a matter of months. So it's hard to rule out the evolutionary process when it comes to Darwinism, when it comes to maybe some offset group of humanoids could have developed aquatic traits to survive deep in the water.
It makes the most sense. I mean, that's the way that I'm seeing that be a thing. And if they have a connection where they're able to communicate, because they can't use words underwater. So if they connect with porpoises that are using these different sonic sounds.
Hypersonic sounds. So you ever heard about how they would have people in the water with dolphins while they getting ready to have birth?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you believe we used to communicate with dolphins in a much more higher level in ancient times?
I extremely believe that, and I think that's why. So dolphins and orcas have a system of government where they even have laws. Scientists have seen that they have multiple languages. They have over 2,000 different languages. They hunt. They also have family.
That's a whole society.
Right, and dolphins actually, as juveniles in their teenage years, they chew on puffer fish and they get high off of the toxins. So they go out in gangs and they get high.
For leisure.
Right, and then they beat up other dolphins that got spots or whatever that don't look the same as them.
They bullying. Even in the animal world, people getting oppressed.
Right.
Damn. That's ferocious, dog.
Right, but I think if they do that, that would have to come from human culture if there's interaction.
Absolutely.
So it's not something that was just, just boom, this is just what it is.
Something even more crazy about dolphins, like during COVID, dolphins was bringing gifts and leaving them on the beach because they missed the interaction with human beings.
They were leaving gifts.
They were leaving gifts at boat docks and at certain beaches. And it's just like, there's a Russian politician who said he was abducted by aliens. And they said to him, he asked them, well, why don't you communicate with us? He said, until you learn to communicate with ants, we have no reason to talk to y'all. And that's what I'm saying, and even further, there's a world-renowned psychic who connected with a jaguar, and the handlers of the jaguar didn't believe it until the jaguar told this person, what happened to those other two little cubs that came with me to this place? And the owner said, there's no way that lady could have known about them two extra cubs that came here with this jaguar. And to me, we're going to put that up too. I feel like the missing link on our planet is us being disconnected from nature and the natural vibrations of the universe.
Why do they keep telling us that we are going to disrupt the natural balance if we connect with nature? They keep telling us that constantly when there's people that even connect with plants. You can talk to a plant and get the plant to keep growing. I had a house where in the backyard there was a bunch of trees and they were all dying. And then I started tending to them every day, watering them, and I'm talking to them, just in the morning during COVID. They started to grow again.
Wow.
And, these are palm trees that were dying, like their fronds were dying, and the fronds started to come back to life as well. I think with jaguars, that's another animal that practices hallucinogenics. It does ayahuasca.
For sure.
So,
shit.
They
that's
eat
the methyltryptamine.
Right. So exactly. So they're on DMT. They're eating these plants and they're rolling on their backs and they're looking at the sky, and that's what helps them hunt the way that they do. This is the only animal that can hunt just as well in trees, water, and on land.
There's a story of a billionaire dude who's on DMT.
Okay.
And he's in his backyard, and he said he smoked the DMT, and he looked across his yard, and he seen this giant tree that had been struck by lightning.
Damn.
He says that the tree started talking to him, telling him saying he's in pain, he's tired of suffering, and it shook this dude to his core to the point where he hired a whole team of botanists to come to his house to try to help bring that tree back to life. Now, this is a dude who's a billionaire, his first time trying DMT. So the story goes that he smoked it again to communicate back with the tree, same story. So that's what he made him bring the botanist out to help him work on the tree. And some scientists say that Well, I've seen people play music for their plants.
Yeah. The different plants grow with different music. So some people play Mozart, and the plants would grow healthier with stronger branches. Some people would just play trap, and the plants wouldn't grow that much.
They trapping now.
Right.
On the gas.
Now the tree's trying to sell itself.
They try to sell itself. Oh, no. Damn.
But it's interesting because everything is in connection with itself. And if we're talking, like you said, with the aliens, I think there are some aliens that we're trying to be in connection and communication. And it's starting to be talked about more often. Like you've seen Barack Obama.
Nah, let's get into this.
Yeah.
Something that he said to me that I think we need to point out is he said that unless they hid this from the president, they are not holding any aliens at Area 51. And he said they're real. He just hasn't seen them yet. He haven't seen them. What people have to know about the government is that everything is so compartmentalized that if you do not have a need to know, you will not get read into those programs. The position of president is a temporary position in the government.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't necessarily give you a need to know about something like that. And that's something we've seen several politicians complain about, especially in Congress, because Congress say, look, Department of Defense tell us we don't have a need to know, so they won't grant us access to these facilities where whistleblowers are saying that they're holding this reverse engineered tech, non-human biologics from crash retrievals. And when you're seeing stuff like this, it makes you wonder, well, who's really in control? Because Congress has something called the Holman Rule, where they can enact this rule and cut off all funding to certain people in the Department of Defense if they don't cooperate with Congress. We haven't seen them enact this rule.
Right.
So it makes you really, really question everything because, you know, Obama name is coming up in a lot of different situations. He's not speaking on it. We just seen Trump post, arrest Obama now. We see political people coming out saying Obama has something to do with Russiagate and trying to put this campaign against Donald Trump to get him locked up. And now he ignores all of that and he come out and tell people aliens is real when he never did it before.
He used to laugh when people talked about aliens.
He used to laugh. So now he's adding credence to it. Makes you understand that they are covering up the fact that there's a demonic group of people that work within our government that are actively hunting people. When you see the guy Netanyahu say it's an active war when Iran is banning the statue of Baal.
Yeah, that's a bad sign.
How's that an active war? It's a bad sign. 2014 on Forbes, there's an article that shows Iran telling people that tall white space aliens run the United States government. This is on Forbes.com. This came from the Iranian government.
I think it was 2018 also with Canada's, the head of their military.
Right.
That came out and he said that there's 4 known species of aliens that interact on this planet, and he said 2 of them are working with the U.S. government. He said the tall whites are working with the U.S. government. He said there's reptilians, there's the grays, and then there was one other species that he said.
The Tronoloids will be like a mantis type group. That's Paul Hellyer. He was the Prime Minister of Defense for Canada.
Correct.
Yes, that's Paul Hellyer. And Paul Hellyer said he was willing to tell everybody everything except for one thing, which is what made President Jimmy Carter cry in the Oval Office when he found out about the existence of this phenomenon. What do you feel about when people say that they don't think that human beings are ready for this information?
I think it's because there's a marginalized group of aliens that are being tortured and slaughtered in front of us. And the moment that we realize this is what we've been killing is going to scare everybody by...
Oh, damn.
You know what I mean? That's why I say that I think that aliens look like black people, if that's the case, because if they find out all this push about racism, killing, hanging, feeding kids to the Pickaninny kids that were getting fed to crocodiles, there's a lot that's been on it. And if you find out, like, this is what we've been doing to the aliens, you're going to be like, oh, shit, like, we're about to go to war. Like, you know.
That's facts, bro. I didn't think about that. Well said, bro.
I mean, but they could still be wearing suits like astronauts. So when they wear the suit, it can be a tall white suit. It can be a gray suit. It can be a reptilian suit.
Now, we seen whistleblower David Grush testify at Congress that there's a group called the Nordics, which are tall whites, and he said they're a few centuries ahead of us. This is what's said at the actual hearing, that this group is a couple centuries ahead of us. So, have they always been here?
Damn.
That's the question. So when you keep hearing about all these ancient bloodlines, and because I personally believe that racism started on another planet.
Yeah.
Because the way the white population acts that came from the Caucasus Mountains, you know, they be mad as a motherfucker. You feel me?
I mean, but that also goes hand in hand with people who talk about the story of the Battle of the Gods that were battling over Earth, that came from another land. And that battle still happened here of who wanted to be worshipped and who wanted to create peace amongst the land.
That's a fact. So, and I believe that has something to do with the UFO phenomenon, the event that happened 1563 in Nuremberg, Germany. Because that battle happened, and some of the craft were shaped like crosses. That's hard to ignore for me. That's hard for me to ignore.
I mean, that's deep, and what goes further with that too, the whole world really doesn't agree on anything. There ain't nothing the whole world agree on. We can't even agree on a language or, holidays. But one thing we can agree on is AD BC.
Yeah.
So we
Before
can
Christ,
the whole world.
descendants.
Exactly. So why is the whole world only in agreement that Jesus Christ came on this day? And if you want to say no, what year are we in? The whole world agrees we in 2026 AD.
For sure.
Anno Domini de Jesu Christi.
Damn.
That is the year of Jesus Christ.
Phono.
So that is interesting that the world united on that. Now, what if people say it's an alien? What if they say that Jesus was brought back home on a mothership? There's different theories on that. But regardless, the whole world was in agreement on that.
The whole world is. And the way the world is set up, I feel like possibly that different groups may have seeded different areas. Because, you look at people in Asia, they got a distinct look.
Yeah.
You go to people on sub-Saharan Africa, they got a distinct look. You go to people in the Americas, which would be like the Clovis, like the original First Nations people, a lot of those people got a distinct look. And I just feel like a lot of groups just be, they campaign based off personal beliefs, but nobody can hide the fact that there are pyramids on every continent.
Correct.
And let me ask you this. Do you think that human beings alone built the pyramids?
I've been iffy back and forth on it, but I think after a lot of thinking, I believe that we did, but it was after seeing the influence of the first one being built, and that's why there's a lot of replications. So if you see like in the pyramids in Teotihuacan in Mexico,
yep.
they're more stacked like stairs.
For sure.
So that looked like more of a man-made version, but there's some that I don't believe are man-made at all because of the precision.
The precision is what gets me. And then, there's a photo of a hammer, I guess that's
like Thor's hammer.
Like Thor's hammer stuck in rock that's 30 million years old?
Yeah, and they got little watches too.
That right there, you got a timepiece. You have to have the right tools to make that.
Right.
There's a swath of history that's missing, and we're going to get to the bottom of it for sure.
Oh, of course. I mean, but that's why you've got some restricted areas. Like, people are starting to ask more questions about the Grand Canyon.
A lot of questions being asked about the Grand Canyon. And there's a tribe of people that live in the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
And they offer tours. Got to take a helicopter to get there. I'm wondering if that's something we need to go do.
I think we should.
Okay.
I think if everybody really wants to see us go down there, let's do it.
Say less. All right.
I wanted to ask you a question because I feel like you're the perfect individual that understands from paranormal and hidden facts that we know about these different creatures and entities, and also for military weapons. Do you think Area 51 is so discreet because of the fact that there's a lot of advancements in military weapons, Or do you believe it's because that's where we are comfortably able to have any of these different cryptids that we're coming into contact with without any potential of, water damage or hurricanes
Understood.
Or something that can break them out? There's no earthquakes in this area that can release these creatures if we finally get a hold of them.
Great question. So, to see Obama say there's no underground facility there, by law, he's supposed to say that.
Right.
I feel that, of course, that place is used to develop technology, especially aircraft and different weapon systems. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base comes up all the time when it comes to where they house certain non-human biologics. And ever since Bob Lazar came out as a whistleblower, I think anything like that they was having there, they probably moved. Because, there's a civil war going on within our government right now.
Right.
And people trying to get their hands on these different assets. And one thing that was prevalent to me that carried a lot of weight from the congressional hearings was we need somebody to walk out of one of these labs with some of this stuff. That's what Congress is saying. And then I just recently seen that I think Eric Burleson was just granted access to some of these places to see some of this. And, it boils down to the fact that Robert Bigelow owns Bigelow Airspace, which is here in Vegas.
Yeah.
Area 51, Groom Lake, is about 3 hours north.
Yep.
He had an agreement with government. They were supposed to give him an actual UFO that was retrieved from a craft retrieval program. This was the agreement. This is public information, but the government reneged on it. That's why he didn't give up his information that he discovered at Skinwalker Ranch. So to answer your question, I believe everything is true and more.
Okay. So both
are definitely true. And, that's one of the most highly guarded places on the earth.
Are you familiar with the movie Cabin in the Woods?
Cabin in the Woods. I've heard about it. I haven't seen it. Tell us what it's about.
In the movie, it's disguised like it's like another kind of movie like Friday the 13th or Halloween, where it's teens that go inside of a cabin and everybody goes to try to, mess around, and then there's a killer.
Right.
But the whole thing is revealed that was just a decoy. The real plot twist of it is that they're in a facility where they're being monitored and watched by scientists. Once they get out, they see that there are different cryptids locked in this underground bunker, and they're all in different casings. So you've got like this giant, they got a giant winged creature in there. They've got basically like a werewolf, like a lichen. They got different creatures all locked in there, and they were just testing, releasing each one to hunt these people that were inside of there to see the reaction of it.
That's crazy you say that, because a few people who said they shot Dogman, and the government came and raided their house and told them, you shot one of our assets. Told them this. I'll put the links to this up here too. You feel me? I got my 10,000 hours in, so I remember everything, because you never forget how a grown man looks at you when he saw something he can't explain, and the threat against his mortality was there. It's the same look on everybody's face when they got that they light flash before their eyes. And that's what I always take as the most serious whenever I'm talking to somebody. Because remember we went that last retrieval, and we went to speak to the lady. She wasn't looking how I've seen when somebody is truly concerned that their child was missing.
And they have no idea where they're at.
And they have no idea where they're at. And you being a parent, you told me, say, bro, I'm not even going to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm not going back in the house until I find something else.
Absolutely.
And I take that very seriously. So I got to watch Cabin in the Woods because, I always tell people to watch a movie called The Village.
Yes.
Because The Village has got a similar, well, I'm not going to say similar, but you could tell people living in a bubble. And outside that wall, they don't know what's going on.
I think they came out the same year.
They might have came out the same year.
That's crazy, yeah. It's like 2009, 2007 or something like that. But yeah, that's interesting because you can, like you said, you see the look in their eyes.
See that look, bro.
Like we've seen some people when it looks like they're faking. Like, when they said there was a leprechaun and the news came out. They said, hey, y'all see the leprechaun? Make some noise if you see the leprechaun. And everybody yelling.
Oh,
but the difference is when you see somebody that's scared, like, I don't even want to talk about this, bro.
That's how it usually is. Like normally, like if I go to like a small town, I'm interviewing people. You know, you got to get comfortable with people, and you got to pull them to the side. They don't even want to talk about this in front of their family and friends because of that stigma of being crazy, or you know how people attack people when they speaking about the unknown. And you know, a lot of things is based off fear. And you know, everybody knows this because if you got an ego, your ego is developed out of fear to prepare you to face the world.
Right.
So, you know, that's hard for people to break through because ontological shock is a thing if your whole worldviews get crashed down in a matter of seconds. And that's what some of this information does to people. But, you know, when the world is changing, you either change with it or you suffer the consequences of staying the same.
Evolution again.
Evolution again. So it's like these same core principles in little micro simulations that's taking place.
So let me ask you, because you have done your research.
Right.
You've seen and talked to witnesses, and they've shown you the evidence that they have.
Right.
From all the information that you have gathered, what would you say are the top 3 cryptids or paranormal entities that are about to come to light that you would say, like, these are the 3 soonest ones I think that are going to come into the screens of the internet for everybody soon?
Okay. One of them I'm going to say is Duendes. Duendes are miniature people. And there was a story of a plane crashing in the Amazon. 2 little girls encountered this tribe. They about this tall, and they miniature humanoids, and they can be dangerous. And I spoke to a lady here in America who swore to God, bro, that she seen gnomes in her yard. But you go to Hawaii, they talk about the minihune. The minihune are small humanoids that can be dangerous to people. So with all of the logging and things going on, that might be something that comes up.
Are those like the same kind of classification as like elves?
Like elves.
Okay, because I've known about like people from Mexico who have talked about elves, but those elves are different. Like they're like dolls. And they don't move when you hold them and have them, kind of like gnomes.
Okay.
But they bleed, they cry, they know your name. You got to give it a strand of your hair so it can come alive and be connected to you. And a lot of people think they're demonic entities too.
This demonic entity stuff come up a lot, man.
Like Labubus. But yeah.
Here we go with that. If you bogus as hell if you got a Labubu.
Yeah.
Another creature I'll say, definitely Sasquatch.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because I told the story about how I seen the taxidermy one.
Yeah.
There's a guy who saw the same thing I saw and has got photos. He's getting ready to come out. Shout out Todd Gatewood. He's getting ready to come out. And there's an FBI investigation going on right now about Bigfoot as well, that they say they're going to declassify the reports. And it's kind of like, why are they doing all of this? But if you want to distract people from the satanic group that's eating babies, who lucky that, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. But fuck them though still.
Yeah.
Because they know that something's coming for that ass.
That's why I protect women, because the ladies in government right now are standing on real business. And they are not letting this go. They're not letting it get swept under the rug.
Shout out to Jasmine Crockett too, man.
Shout out to Jasmine Crockett. And we're seeing some of those people in the Epstein files get arrested in other countries right now.
Yes.
And a lot of those places got ladies in charge of parliament.
Yep.
So expect to see some big names with that. And the final creature I said that I feel like that's going to come to light is the tall whites.
Yeah, okay. So before mermaids, you think we want to see the tall whites?
Yeah, I believe that. And I believe that because One of the reasons I wanted to set up base in Nevada was because, you know, this place has the least amount of abductions. And there are several people who say they walk among us here and they frequent certain casinos here.
Yes.
So that's something that you hear about. And we real close to nuclear war.
I mean, and
they have been preventing that.
Yes, every single time. So the moment that we launched that nuke in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that's when we start to see the UFOs.
That's
when
we got the White House.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And they flew across the galaxy like, yo, what y'all doing over here, Playboy?
Because people have to understand, a nuclear explosion, you know, there are multiple dimensions that exist on top of this plane.
Yeah.
And nuclear explosions tear through the fabric of time and space. And it causes damage to other beings, because we had a certain weapon called a Scudar that we would use to interfere with flying saucers to make them crash.
Shit.
And this is something that got declassified in CIA docs as well. So make sure y'all paying close attention. Over the next few days, we're going to be dropping a lot of information, and it's all leading up to something.
Now, interesting that you're saying we're about to drop some information. Rewatching. So last night, I was watching some of the videos that we released, my son.
Okay.
And so he's looking, and he caught something I didn't see while we were there.
Really?
There's a moment while we're at Zizek's Road.
Okay.
And you have the laser that has all the dots on it, and you say, this is how we can see what's camouflaged.
For sure.
Right at the last second before you're cutting it off, there's a shadow figure.
Oh!
On the bottom right of it. Like, you see the shadow, and, like, the dots move around it, and then you cut it off.
Now, see, I'm glad that this got brought up, because they say that Nephilim or whatever are disembodied.
Yeah.
I believe that's who them shadow beings could possibly be. Because there's a guy named Bobo Fay, who him and some PhDs were out, and they had the same tool I had. And they said in order to get some of these beings off of them, they had to use a different stream of light to get them to run away. So it's a lot more to everything, and I don't think there's one finite answer to solve everything.
Of course not. But, I mean, like, if you think about what is basically essentially become like a hub for these creatures or these beings, and that's why they keep going to certain places and people keep seeing them frequent there.
For sure.
You know, Las Vegas, we had to turn down the Luxor beacon because it was too bright. It would shine out through space and it was visible past the moon.
Oh, shit.
So think about all aliens coming in to see that.
Like, what's this?
Right. I mean, we're able to see lights that's on Jupiter, and that's just their thunderstorms. It took us many years to find out, but we've seen flashing lights, and it made us curious.
100%.
So if they're seeing the Luxor, and it's all this desert land for landing, and they could just pass through here, the lights are so bright you can't even see the stars. So it's easy to see many passings going through of aliens. There's actually spots out here in Nevada that people are just regular to it. In if you go past North Las Vegas, right, there's an area out there in that desert field that a lot of people just see spacecrafts pass.
And a lot of them is coming to and from Nellis.
Yep.
To Area 51, which is Groom Lake.
Exactly. Right near Nellis. Exactly. So you know where, yeah.
Yeah, facts. Good episode, man. We covered a lot of stuff today, man. You want to close out with anything, Ro?
Yeah, man. We got more that's going to be coming on the way on the channel. There's a lot of different content that we're going to be dropping. Make sure to also check on the You're Welcome Network. That's where you can see that episode that we did. You guys posted that on Alienated.
Yep.
With Larry, Cousin Bang came out. So if you guys haven't been able to check us out there, make sure you're liking and subscribing here on the Off the Grid Network and also on the You're Welcome Network so you can catch us every Friday.
100%. We got a lot of new content coming for sure. You're going to see me and Ro traveling in the field. I'm back on Alienated this week at the You're Welcome Network. Make sure y'all tune in. And me and Ro going to jump on live tomorrow. Love y'all. Until next time.